Hello, everyone. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom, shalom. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to see everybody's faces. Amazing. I'm also thrilled to have a break from koshering for Pesach. That's a joke. I'm going to leave it till the last minute like I do every single year. Tonight, I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about why Neve Shalom is so important to our family, especially these last few years. I don't think there's a single person on earth who has not been impacted by COVID these last few years. It's been exhausting, both physically and mentally. Thankfully, we have been fortunate to have Neve Shalom keep us rooted and provide support. I was especially happy to see Neve so quickly transition to virtual services, virtual Hebrew school, and drive-by events to cultivate personal connections during these unprecedented times. Neve has been a fountain of knowledge for the community, ensuring people understood what was happening with the virus, where to get tested, how to get vaccines, and doing everything they could to maintain community health. The caring support reminds me of when I was young, and my mother would take me by the hands and say, "Shana Meidala, you are not a leaf in the wind." Sometimes when my mother would say it in a worried voice, like when I was a teenager and getting into my fair share of trouble, "Naomi, you're not a leaf in the wind." Sometimes she would say it exasperated, like when I came home from a trip at the ripe old age of 22 and said, "Hey, Mom, I met a guy on a plane. He lives in Oregon. I'm moving to Oregon." And she said, "Naomi, you're not a leaf in the wind." And I said, "It's okay, he's Jewish." And after 18 years and 3 kids, it's working out so far. My parents even followed us out a few years later. It took me some time to figure out exactly what my mother was talking about. A leaf in the wind. What does that even mean? And am I a leaf attached to something? It took me many years to realize what my mother meant. What she was trying to say was that I am a leaf on a deeply rooted tree filled with wisdom and tradition. I have a birthright of roots to a community. I'm part of the tree of life. Eitz Chaim Hi. When Michelle asked me to speak tonight, I was overflowing with ideas. I literally wrote a short novel, and then she told me it was 3 minutes. So if this feels long, I apologize. I assure you it's the short version, thanks to my husband's incredible editing skills. Thank you. I started thinking about when I was Hebrew school shopping because my son was getting to an age where we were thinking about his bar mitzvah. I met the amazing Mel Berwin, who talked to me through how not only was there an incredible Jewish program for my neurotypical son, but also an inclusion program for my disabled daughter to be taught at her level with a para-educator in the classroom. For those in the disability community, that is like a unicorn. Dayenu. Or when my father-in-law passed and Rabbi Kosak stepped in at a moment's notice, even though we were brand new members, and even though Rabbi Kosak had never met my father-in-law, he gave such an amazing funeral service that several non-Jewish attendees asked if they could book ahead of time for their own service. Dayenu. I thought about how alienating it had been to forego services for years because my disabled daughter's challenging behaviors, until Rabbi Posen pulled me aside and made sure I knew my entire family would be accepted and welcome at every service. She assured me that if anyone had a problem with my daughter's behavior, I could point them straight to her because she would rather have us at shul than not. Dayenu. So at Neve Shalom, we are not leaves in the wind. Since Pesach is almost here, I thought I'd talk about why this past year has been different for us than all other years, and what Congregation Neve Shalom did for us when we were exiled in the land of COVID. Over this past year, we experienced 2 major life events: my son's bar mitzvah and my father's passing. A major high and a deep, deep low, both complicated by the challenges of the pandemic. A year ago next Sunday, my son Ari had a beautiful COVID bar mitzvah. We were so lucky to have an excellent tutor, cantor, and rabbi who were up to the task of keeping a 12-year-old on track over FaceTime. And when his special day arrived, it was incredible and strange to have my family zoomed in from Connecticut, China, and Israel for their parts in the service. Our elderly and ill family and friends were able to watch via live stream. Who's heard of such a thing? Neve made it possible and special. My children are not leaves in the wind. Eitz Chaim Hi. Unfortunately, at the same time that my son was studying so hard for his bar mitzvah, my father's health was failing. It was a difficult time for my family, but having this community here for support made a world of difference. Staff and clergy checking in on my mother, connecting with me, Rabbi Kosak dressed in full head-to-toe PPE to spend time with my father in his dying months. It was so meaningful, so appreciated. We truly felt connected and cared for by this community. So despite my father's body failing and his wits slipping away, Elliot Lubarsky was not a leaf in the wind. I lost my father this past December, and I am incredibly grateful to have had this wonderful community behind us, supporting us, and grieving with us. From Marg and Fred pulling every string to make sure we had the day and time for the service that could accommodate my brother's crazy flight schedules, to arranging for a Zoom so my sister could be at the service while she was in lockdown in China. And once again, Rabbi Kosak led a beautiful service for my family. It was as if we were the only family going through a loss. Although from all the Baruch Dayan Ha'emet notices that I received that week, I knew we were not. It's Chaim He. So I say to you all, we are so lucky to be part of a synagogue who truly cares. From the Jewish education of a young disabled child to supporting the grief of death and everything in between. Here at Neve Shalom, we are not just a synagogue, we are a community. We are all part of this tree of life. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, all its paths lead to peace. And here at Neve Shalom, we are not leaves in the wind. Thank you so much for having us.